All right, so we are back and we are doing more math stuff. We're still on systems of equations, but today we're going to be able to do a couple of things like represent linear constraints. Represent just means like you're going to show it in different ways. Linear means it's going to be lines. Constraints means like, what's a good way to explain constraints? Like things that have to be true, conditions, if you will, right? So you say, hey, mom, can I go to the movies this weekend with my friend? She says, sure, as long as you, and then she says, do all your homework, whatever the case might be, right? So a constraint is something that must be true. So if you notice, you as a growing, young human, you're understanding what constraints actually do. So some people look at constraints and being like, like it's impossible. But constraints actually help you choose and make wise decisions too, if you think about it. All right, here we go. So it says, how can I represent all possible solutions to a situation that is limited in different ways by various resources or constraints? So back to Carlos and Clarita. So they're making a list of some of the issues they need to consider as part of their business plan to care for cats and dogs while their owners are on vacation. Number one is space. Cat pens will require 6 feet squared of space, while dog runs require 24 feet squared. Carlos and Clarita have 360 feet squared available in the storage shed for pens and runs, while still leaving enough room to move around the cages. The startup costs are also a constraint, meaning they don't have an unlimited amount of space. So that's a constraint, right? They don't have an unlimited amount of money, so that is considered a constraint. So Carlos and Clarita plan to invest much of the $1,280 they earned from their last business venture to purchase cat pens and dog runs. It will cost $32 for each cat pen and $80 for each dog run. So we need to pause really quick and just like take in all this information. Okay. So in terms of space, what do you know? In terms of space, what do you know? Yeah. So they only have 360 square feet. So imagine, I don't know, a yard or something like that. So this is their backyard or this is the warehouse space. I forgot where they're building this thing, but so they have this area and it's 360 feet squared. Okay. What else do we know? What else do we know, guys? Yeah. A cat pen is 6 feet. So I'm just going to pretend like, I don't know. This is for a cat. And then a dog run is 24 feet. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. We don't know what this actually looks like. Right? So they're going to make dog runs and cat pens, right? All over the place. And then it says available in the storage shed for pens and runs while still leaving enough room to move around the cages. So they just have like cages everywhere, right? And then it says startup costs. Carlos and Clarita plan to invest $1,280. So they have $1,280, but this is how much it costs for each of those things. Okay. So there's some information. I don't know, maybe $1,280. This is kind of like their budget, I guess. Budget just means how much money you should or could spend. And then $32 for a cat pen and $80 for a dog run. Okay, so far so good. It says, of course, Carlos and Carlita want to make as much money as possible for their business. So they're trying to determine how many of each type of pet they should plan to accommodate. Right? And then it says they plan to charge $8 per day for boarding each cat and $20 per day for each dog. After surveying the community regarding the pet boarding needs, That's pretty smart. They're finding out how many cats and dogs exist in their community. Carlos and Clarita are confident that they can keep all the boarding spaces filled for the summer. So the question is, how many of each type of pet should they prepare for? Their dad had suggested the same number, perhaps 12 and 12. Carlos thinks that they should plan for more dogs since they can charge more. Clarita thinks that they should plan for more cats since they take up less space and time and therefore they can board more. So, using this content, they're going to ask you, what do you think? What recommendations would you give to Carlos and Clarita? And what argument would you use to convince them and your recommendation is reasonable? So, do you agree with the dad? Do you agree with Carlos? Do you agree with Clarita? Okay, so I'm gonna pause you guys in just a second, but I want you to get to this part. Like when you get to this part in terms of the recommendations, you can't just be like cats because I like cats more, dogs because I hate cats, or I think the dad's right because he's, it's the dad. You have to come up with kind of like your own reasoning of why this is so. So obviously here we're going to be using math. So you're going to try your best to write a system that would have these constraints so that you could work with that. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm going to pause it really quick so that you guys can figure this out. 1 second. Okay, so we started off with a table. And the way we did it was we took the amount of money that we had and we divided it by 32 to see what's the max number of cats. We got 40. And we said, well, does 40 fit in this space? And then so we checked and we did 40 times 6, which is 240, which it fits, right? 240 square feet is less than 360 square feet. So we're good. We did similar with the dogs, except for what we found was if you take 1,280 and divide it by 80, we got 16 dogs. But 16 times 24 was not way over, it was over 360. So we took a dog away and then that maxed out that space. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try one more time, like a combination of them. So like, could we fit 12 cats and 12 dogs? What do you guys think? Could we fit 12 cats and 12 dogs? So I'm going to use Desmos to help me figure this out. How would you figure this out? What would I do? So wait, 16? Yeah, I go 12 times 6, right? This is for space. And then I'm going to go 12 times 24. Ooh, that's exactly the right amount of space that I need, right? Then I'd also have to check what? What would I also have to check? Yes, very good. I'd have to check money. So then I'm going to go 12 times 32 plus 12 times 80. And it's 1,344. Shoot, we went over on money, but exact in that. So can someone fix this so that it's under 1,280? How can I fix this? Should I take away some dogs? Yeah, let's do 11 dogs. Does that help me? Is that good for dogs? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we go 11 here, and then so we're still good. I'm just going to put good because I don't want to write that number because I don't remember it. So this is all fine and dandy, but now I want to go for an equation. Okay, so let's write some equations here. Let's just write the equation or whatever. It's technically not going to be an equation, but when I think about the space that I have left here, right? How did we construct this equation? What did I do? What was I multiplying? What was I adding? Where did all these numbers come from? Where did the 12 come from? Yeah, the number of cats. Oh my gosh. Do you know how many cats we have? Everyone say no. No, we don't know how many cats. We're going to do this generically. So I'm going to use C for cats. Is everybody okay with that? So I'm going to go, where did this 32 come from? Yeah, very good. 32 is the how amount it's going to cost me for a cat pen. So I can write the equation as 32C. Okay. Plus, I'm going to add this because this is what you told me to do. Add. And what is 11? In this case, we don't know how many dogs there are, so it's going to be a D. And where did you get this 80 from? Yeah, it's how much the dog run cost. And what do I want this to be? Here, I want this equation and I want this to be equal to 1280, right? How much money I have, right? How much money they have, rather. But in this case, it worked, even though what? What do you guys notice here? Yeah, it is going to be less than or equal to. Ms. Johnson, why less than? Why can it be greater than? Because Carlos and Clarita don't want to get into debt. They're only going to spend the amount of money they have or less than that. So, like, think about you going to the store. Your mom gave you $20 to buy, I don't know, milk and something else, right? Does she expect you to spend exactly $20, or does she just expect you to make sure that she gave you enough money to get the things that she needed, right? So it's okay as long as as long as you get the things that she needs. So there's another constraint for you. Like if your mom sends you to the store and she says, I need this, this, and this, and she gives you $20. So you're walking through the store, you're putting stuff into your basket and being like, okay, that's $7, that's $2, and this is $6. Did mom give me enough money? Right? Okay, so there's one equation. Any questions on this equation? I should be able to point to anything and be like, but why did you multiply? But why did you add? Okay, can you try to write an equation about the space? Here's what we wrote together. Can you write an equation for the space? Do your best. It doesn't have to be perfect. Do your best to write an equation about the space. Nice. Okay, good. Someone wrote me an equation. I need to write it down. I'm trying to find that one thing. Here it is. So someone wrote me an equation and they did something like this. 6C plus 24D. So pause really quick. Oh, because each cat is going to take 6 feet of space. So that's why I'm going to multiply it. I'm going to add it to the space that's going to be taken up by a dog, 24 feet per, I don't know, cage. Dog run, they're calling it. Has to be less than or equal to 360 feet squared. Everybody okay with this? Yeah. No, you're good. That's perfect. Good job. She's like, I typed it wrong. I can't see. You're right. You're good. So if you understand these two equations, then you're pretty much done. I'm going to write these two equations just so that you guys can see. I'm going to use X as my cats and Y as my dogs. And then I'm going to go less than or equal to 1280. Miss Johnson, did you guys all see that? What happened to my graph? What do you guys see on my graph? You guys all see what happened to my graph? Yes, it's shaded. Oh, that's right. Okay, so I need to make this smaller so you guys can see. So I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm only focusing on this top quadrant here because there's no such thing as negative dogs. Negative dogs. No negative dogs. Okay. So this is that case that we found earlier, the 15 dogs, no cats. Here's the case that we found earlier with 40 cats, no dogs. So the solution is where? Do you remember before where we said our solution was where they what? Yeah, where they intersect, right? So now we're not looking at lines intersecting, we're looking at shading intersecting. I'm looking for the area that is both shaded green and purple. Purple, green and purple. So it's all of this guy, right? All of this section here, right? Oh, wait. Is it here too? Yes or no? Good. No. Why not? Because he's purple, not green. What about over here? Everyone says, no, because he's green and not purple. What about right here? Like, this is the heck to the no because you're not anything, right? All right. What about right here? Yes, this is a yes because it's green and purple. Okay, wait. What about that part right? I don't know, wherever they intersect. That part right there, I think that's a yes, but it's a weird yes, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I don't want to look at 6.6 cats. That looks gross. No to 6.6 cats. Yuck, right? So here's all of our things. The last thing that we are going to check is this. It says, of course, they want to make as much money as possible. They plan on charging $8 per day for boarding each cat and $20 per day for each dog. So what you're going to do, and this is the last step, is you're going to take each of these points where everything intersects like that, and this one down here. Oh, you're not going to all stay, huh? No, it's not going to stay. That's okay. So I'm going to snip this picture really quick and I'm going to show you, this is the last little bit. Okay, copy. So what's going to happen is you're going to check all of these points against your profit. So what are you talking about, Mr. Johnson? Check these points. All these points of intersection, do you guys all see my points of intersection? You're going to check to see which one gives you the most profit. So I'm going to say this. So I'm going to go with 0, 0. Do you think that's going to give me the best profit? Everyone says, well, then why are you checking it, Ms. Johnson? Okay, I'm not going to do 0, 0 then because you said not to do it. This one's going to be 0 cats, 15 dogs. This one right here, I am not going to do 6.67, but I do want to check it. Okay, so I know it sounds weird, but I'm going to check it. It doesn't really exist because we don't really have, I mean, there are such things as a third of a cat, and then this last point over here is 40,0. So what I really want to know is who gives me the most profit over here. This is why I added this column over here. Okay, so I want to check these three, and this is where I'm going to leave you guys to see who gives me the most profit according to $8 and $20. So I'm going to do this first one with you. 0 times 8 is 0, plus 20 times 15 is 3,000. 300. It's 300. 300. Yeah, this is $300 versus 40 cats for 8. What's 40 times 8? 320. Ooh, 320. So far it looks like, right, Clarita is right with more cats. I'm gonna have you plug this one in. I know it seems weird because of the points stuff, but here I'm gonna have you, actually I'm gonna plug it in for you really quick. Where's this guy? This guy right here. So I'm going to plug this guy in here. So I got 8 times 6.67 plus 13.3 times 20. Ooh, I got $319. So which combination should they go with? Who's going to give me the most profit? Yeah, very good. The 40 cats is going to give me the most profit. Very good. All right, I'm going to stop.